WrestleMania 8 in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. Your boy is now a freshman in high school by this point, and this was a really memorable show. It kind of had a double weird main event. The original plan was to do Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, but they changed direction about a month before the show and put Hogan on a collision course with Sid and gave Randy Savage the title shot against Ric Flair, and they billed the whole thing as a double main event. Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, of course, are on the call for this thing, and it's one of the best examples of how amazing their chemistry is, because Bobby Heenan was just a trip during this whole thing, and it's fun to watch them play off each other, and this show is one of my favorite Bobby and Gorilla pairings of all time. Unfortunately, the WWF Championship match would not be the main event on this show because of you-know-who, Hulk Hogan, but that didn't seem to matter because this was a really fun, classic championship match between two legends, Randy Savage and Ric Flair, and they were able to add a lot of heat to this feud despite not having much time to work with. And when it comes to Elizabeth, Randy Savage can be downright psychotic, and there was a lot of heat and a lot of intensity during this match, Mr. Perfect getting all involved, and it was just a clusterfuck from the word go. And in the end, Ric Flair, bloody and all, thinks he has Savage right where he wants him. Savage rolls him up with a handful of tights, wins the championship. The crowd goes nuts. Flair, of course, then forces a kiss on Elizabeth, and all hell breaks loose. And in the back later on, Savage cuts one of my favorite post-match promos in the history of WrestleMania on Ric Flair. Of course, Hulk Hogan had to be in the main event against Sid. They were teasing that this was going to be Hulk Hogan's final match, and he wound up winning via disqualification when Sid actually kicked out of his finisher. And then we ended up having Papa Shango come in, and the two are attacking Hulk Hogan, and that is when we hear the music of the Ultimate Warrior, who was fired in the previous summer, coming back, saving Hulk Hogan to an amazing ovation. It was a great moment, even though I wasn't a big Warrior fan. Him coming back at WrestleMania 8 is one of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time, I will admit that. Also, one of my all-time favorite matches, not only in the history of WrestleMania, but the history of the business, took place here as well, as Roddy Piper defended the Intercontinental Championship against Bret the Hitman Hart in a great bloody encounter between two friends, and a really fun and interesting match with Bret Hart getting the win over Piper by pushing off the top turnbuckle and pinning him, and the two friends walking out of the ring together. And props to Piper for doing the honors for Bret there, eating his first pin since the Nixon administration.